Hi everyone, I'm Maryann from the North Grove.
And I'm Maria Garcia from the North Grove as well.
Today we are making my favorite meal. We are making homemade pizza. And to do this, we're going to do it in 3 parts. Maria is going to make the pizza sauce.
Yes. And Maryann will do the pizza dog, and together we will chop some veggies for the topping. So for the utensils, you will need a pot, a 1/4 cup for measure the olive oil. We will need a wooden spoon, a 1/4 teaspoon, a 1/2 teaspoon, and a teaspoon. Of course, your cutting board and the knife. So for the easy pizza sauce, we will need olive oil, a can of crushed tomatoes, pepper, salt, oregano, basil, and the onion. So first, you wanna get ready your onions. So for this one, you will chop the top, chop a little bit of the bottom. We will cut it in half. We will peel it because the cut that we need is dice. Chop. And again, everybody has their own way to cut and chop an onion. Once you have your onions completely chopped, you will use your 1/4 cup measure, and then you put the olive oil in your pot. That's a nice sizzling. And with your spatula, you kind of move it around until they get soft and a little bit gold before you put the other ingredients. You can tell that onions are getting reduced. That's telling you that it's almost time to put your tomatoes on. Now, you will take your crushed tomatoes and your spices and you will start slowly pouring them. Notice that the onions are really soft and gold now. And now your spices. Let's start with your oregano, your basil, your salt, and your pepper. And if you feel it's not enough, you can chill a little bit. It won't hurt. So now you stir a little bit and reduce the temperature to medium because it will start to bubble in a little bit. And you leave it cooking for around 40-45 minutes before it's got ready.
You may have to reduce the temperature even more as it
goes,
cooks,
right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to stick it on your.
Maria, can I tell you a joke about pizza?
What is it, Maryann? Tell me.
No, it's too cheesy.
Oh, no. I love that. So yeah, we leave it open. We don't put the lid on till it's ready.
All right, I think we're ready to make the pizza dough while the pizza sauce is cooking. And to make the pizza dough, we need a bowl, we need a wooden mixing spoon, we need a tablespoon and a teaspoon measure. We also need a 1 cup measure, a 1/2 cup measure, and a knife for leveling the flour. We also need a measuring cup with warm water, not too hot and certainly not too cold. And eventually we'll need a baking pan. If you have a round one, that's great. If not, a rectangular one does just as well. I am using parchment paper and it has just the lightest coating of olive oil on it. So our ingredients for pizza dough, we are going to use olive oil, flour, warm water, we're going to use sugar, yeast, and salt. In our bowl, we are going to start with our water, and it's 1 cup. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar and sprinkle it on top. And then we're going to use our yeast. We have the little packet of yeast, but you can also use the yeast that's in a jar. And I just like to sprinkle it on top. And this would be a fun thing to have your kids do, because it's really fun for them to watch the yeast change. So I'm going to stir it, and you can see what it looks like. So we'll let it rest for 5 minutes. In the meantime, Maria, why did the fella open up a pizza shop?
Yes,
Do you know why?
no, why?
Because he wanted to make some dough.
Oh my goodness, that is so silly.
Okay, looks like our yeast is nice and frothy. So now it's time to add the flour. We're going to add 2 1/2 cups of flour. And I like to use the metal measuring cups. And I take a butter knife, flat end, and just scrape off the excess flour. That way you don't get too much into your dough. And that was 1. That's 2. And 1/2. I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of salt and sprinkle it on top. I'm going to start stirring, but I am going to add the oil in just a second. So I've stirred it a little bit. Now I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1 and 2. So if you're doing this with your child, this is a great opportunity to do some counting and also talk about the changes that they see as the flour gets incorporated into the dough. And they can help stir it. And they also can help measure, of course. Now, dough's pretty scruffy, might be the word. So what I'm going to do now is use my hands. And of course, I've washed my hands ahead of time. And I'm just going to kind of squeeze the dough, and it's incorporating all the excess flour. And I kind of just keep flipping it so I can get a nice soft dough ball. And it really only takes a minute or 2 to do this. And this is such an easy recipe because we don't have to knead it, after an hour or so, as you do in other recipes. You just kind of knead it in the bowl, and then we'll let it rest. And then I take it with both hands, and I just kind of do that kind of motion. So now it's a nice little ball of dough, and we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes while I go wash my hands. Okay, we are ready to make our veggie topping.
The utensils. We need a knife, ceramic knife, which is helping a lot with the tomato skin. We need a cutting board. We need a fry pan and a bowl where to put all our chopped veggies.
We are going to dice red pepper. We're going to dice a very small onion. We are going to chop up some mushrooms. And lastly, after we have sauteed those ingredients, we are going to dice tomatoes and add it to the mixture. That will be the topping for our pizza. We also have some veggie pepperoni, which will be delicious with the mozzarella cheese. So Maria,
Yes, Maryann.
how do you fix a broken pizza?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I don't know. Wow, Maryann.
Well, you use tomato paste.
Oh, of course. Oh my goodness.
Maria, do you remember our favorite rhyme for when we're chopping vegetables with
those
the children?
times, of course. Choppity chop, Maryann?
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think we could do that?
Let's do that. I love that song. I'm pretty sure they remember.
All right. So, chop,
Chop, choppity chop. Cut off the bottoms and cut off the top.
What you have left,
we
put in the pot. Chop, chop,
choppity
choppity chop.
chop. Yeah.
Okay, so I thought I would show people how I like to chop a pepper because sometimes I find a lot gets wasted. A cook at a restaurant showed me this. You slice off the top, and that's perfectly good to use. Don't throw that out. Take your knife and go around and around and around the pepper. So you're removing the core and the seeds. And you just have to pull it out, plop it in there, give it a tap in case there's a few seeds. And then what I find works best is to cut the pepper in half and then in quarters, and which flattens it. So if you're doing this with children, you would give them a little piece like this to chop rather than the whole pepper, which is much more manageable for them. And then I just cut it in strips. And I would turn them and chop them into little dice. And that's how I do it. So I think we're at the point where we're going to put the olive oil in the frying pan.
Absolutely. Another interesting addition to extend the experience for children during cooking, you can find some plastic knife that you can incorporate and they can cut it and you feel relaxed because that helps a lot to feel like they are safe and they're enjoying, and also they have the full experience about chopping veggies.
Do you remember where we found those, Maria?
No, Maryann, could you help us to remember?
Well, I feel like I found them at Dollarama.
That's amazing.
And also sometimes the grocery stores have them. They're sometimes called lettuce knives. And they're not very expensive. And like you say, you feel a lot better having a child use that rather than a real knife.
And Maryann have all the veggies already done, so I'm going to incorporate the olive oil in our vegetable oil in our pan. So it's a tablespoon. Vegetable oil. And then we will fry them. It's beautiful. Look at those colors. All the variation.
You're always the artist, Maria.
I love colors.
Colors do make food look more appetizing,
Absolutely.
for sure. The reason why we're cooking the vegetables is they will just taste better, honestly, if they are not raw. And also, I think they're a little easier to hide under the cheese if your children don't like veggies. Also, the moisture reduces too, yeah. So it's not as heavy on the pizza. Okay, while Maria is sauteing the veggies, I'm going to dice up the tomato. The tomato's already been washed. I'm going to slice off top and bottom. And I'm using that serrated knife that Maria mentioned. It just works much better than a regular blade. And I'm going to just make nice long lines and then go this way to make a nice dice. And anything that is flat like that is much easier to chop and much safer for you because it won't roll about. And I've been told if you curve your fingers, you're less likely to chop off a finger, so that's a good trick to remember.
We say to the children, spider fingers.
Spider fingers. Spider-Man.
Yes.
They love Spider-Man. So if you can tie it into something they love,
Right.
you're halfway home.
After all the veggies are all scaled, we will transfer to a colander to get all the juice. And now Maryann will come with the tomatoes.
Okay, I'm just
And
gonna
mix it
plop
together.
them in.
Right.
There they go, and Maria's gonna stir it again. And we're gonna let that drain for a few minutes. Now we're ready to do the pizza dough. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do it with a rolling pin and roll it out. I like to just put it directly on the pan. And this would be a really fun thing for your child to help you do. And you're just gonna use your fingers and work it out. You may want to put a little olive oil on your fingers, just so the dough doesn't stick to them. And you try to make sure you don't have any holes in your crust. And like I said, you can use a rolling pin, or you can divide your dough into 4 balls and make 4 separate smaller pizzas, which is kind of nice to do if everybody has particular likes and dislikes, and that way everybody gets the pizza that they want. Sometimes we like to do like a pizza bar where you have all your toppings in separate bowls and you just add what you like. I find that you don't want to put too much on a pizza because it makes it too heavy and then it doesn't bake as well. So I like to try to keep the toppings. I think we're ready for the sauce.
So now we have all our ingredients ready. We will assemble our pizza. So first, we're gonna use a little bit of the sauce that we just made earlier. And you wanna spread it in a thin layer. You don't have to use it all because that's the beauty of this recipe. It can be freeze and it can last over days. So you don't have to use it, and for months, but more than days. It's like painting.
It's like painting.
Yeah.
Forever the artist.
I think we covered a lot of it there.
It looks really good.
I'm gonna pass it to you, Maryann, so you can add another ingredient, very delish.
So today we have a special ingredient. It's veggie pepperoni. It's got a nice spicy flavor, and we thought you might enjoy trying it at home. So you will get that in your package. So I'm just gonna layer on the pepperoni, spread them out, and now it's Maria's turn to decorate our pizza.
Remember those veggies that we were skillet? Okay, so now we place them together and we will put it in our pizza. And we will try to spread it so that we don't make it too heavy. And the final touch, our favorite.
I'm going to use
You
cheese.
guess? Yes.
If you have extra sauteed veggies, you can use them in a stir fry or a frittata, omelet, all kinds of uses for anything left over.
They're already there, right? Yeah.
So now we'll sprinkle on the cheese. And isn't there a song that we know about pizzas, Maria?
And that's another surprise that we have in our package. We were sending a little brochure with songs and suggested books. So this song is so popular for us. It's called Pizza, and we spell the name.
P-I-Z-Z-A. So
There we
it goes
go.
like this. I had a pizza big and round, and all of it was mine. Oh, P-I-Z-Z-A, 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 and all of it was mine. Oh. Now we're going to put this in the oven.
Woo!
Into the oven it goes. And we've got the oven turned on to 450.
Yes.
And it's going to bake for about 15 minutes. Okay, this pizza's looking pretty good.
So with the package that we're sending home, we are incorporating a brochure that has all the 3 recipes that we went over today. And we have our pizza song, and also we have books suggesting fun reading for children and encourage to extend the experience about cooking pizza at home.
Thanks everybody for joining us to make pizza today. We really hope that you enjoy these recipes.
We really have so much fun cooking, singing, and saying jokes. So see you next time. Bye.